Hi, this is Amy Rich with amyrich.net. I love paper pumpkin. So here are the paper supplies you need from the kit. You can see the koalas, the cupcake, flowers, present, and the bear, and one of the cards. And you may have noticed we are making a birthday card. We are going to start by doing some trimming. You see that I also have here a sheet of Blackberry Bliss cardstock. This is very important for the card base that we're going to make today. So bringing in our trimmer, we're going to trim this Blackberry Bliss cardstock in half at 5.5 inches. So we've got the long way, sliding it into our trimmer and cutting it at 5.5 inches. Then we're going to take this piece and cut that at 2 3/4 inches. That is half of the 5.5. Then let's do some scoring. We're going to score at 1/2 inch, and you see I'm measuring in or out that way, 1/2 inch. And then we'll go 2.5, 3, 5, 5.5. Then I have to pull out the arm of my trimmer. Then we'll go to 7.5. And then we'll go to 8, and that's where we will cut. We're going to cut this so it ends up to be 2 3/4 by 8. And we have scored it at half, 2.5, 3, 5, 5.5, and 7.5. Then we're going to come back with our other piece and put that in at 2 3/4 also, but this time instead of cutting it, we're going to score it. So we're going to score that at 2 3/4. Then we're going to turn it the other direction and we're going to put that in at 2 inches. And what we're going to do is we're going to score it on one side of that score line and cut it up to the score line on the other side so that we have like this, okay? So now we're gonna go in at 4 inches and do the same thing again. So first we'll go in, and remember, for the scoring blade, it won't score until you push down, okay? So you can just move it to the center and then push out. And for this, I like to, you can do it either way. You can cut there or move it to the center and cut out, whatever works. But you don't want to go much past that score line, so you have to be a little bit careful. So then we'll go to 6 inches. So 2, 4, 6. It's like a 2, 4, 6, 8 box. We used to make those years ago. So we're going to do the same thing here at 6 inches. And finally, the very same thing again at 8 inches. So we'll go out, we'll cut in, and there we've got, I think we're not quite done with our cutting. But what we're going to do is we're going to take our snips, and this piece here is going to come off, but we're going to cut that off at an angle. So we're going to come up in here just a little bit so that we cut that at an angle. That way the box will just go together a little bit more easily. Next, we're going to take the card, and we are going to cut the card. So we're going to slide this in so that we've got the striped side on the left side of our cutting blade. And we are going to cut a strip at 1 3/4. And we're going to do that again, 1 3/4 again. Then we're going to flip it and cut this one at 1 3/4 as well. And we're going to do that twice, so that this is excess and you can use that for something else. Now we're going to put our, we'll start with the green one. We're going to put this in at 5 1/4 and trim just a little bit off. And actually we're going to hold on to that. And for this one, we are going to cut at 2.5, and then actually that's it. And then we're going to turn it this way, that leftover piece. So we've got a 5 1/4 and a 2 1/2. And now we're going to turn that leftover piece and cut a 1/4 inch off of there as well. And we're going to keep this. So we've got these 2 strips ready to go for part of our project. This is discarded or used on something else. Now this piece we're going to take and cut at 5 1/4, just like we did with the green one. And remember, if you're doing this just with designer series paper, you can go ahead and cut that at 1 3/4 by 5 1/4, and it'll work just the same. In this case, we're just using it out of the kit. And then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do 2 1/2, but we need 2 of these. So we're going to go 2 1/2 again. All right, so we have all of these pieces ready to go together, and we're going to start with the box. So we're going to fold on all of those scored lines, and go ahead and make a crisp fold with your bone folder if you have one, or your fingernail. And then we'll do this little tab on the edge as well. And then we'll fold it this way. Lots of little folds, but you are going to love this. You are going to love it. Okay, now we're going to take adhesive. Well, first of all, we're going to just take our piece, fold it right here so that your little tab is here. And we're going to grab some liquid glue. We're going to put glue on there and then just fold this other part over so that now we've created this little box. So now these folds all fold the opposite way so that your flaps fold out, if you can see that. And then we're going to take our green piece here, soft sea foam. That's very pretty. And I am going to use liquid glue so that it moves around a little bit and we can get it into position before it dries. So we'll just adhere that all the way through so that there's a little border of Blackberry Bliss all the way around. And then we're going to flip that over, but we want this piece now on the back side of that. So you see this part here, so we're going to squish that down so we can get this part on the back side. So we'll add our liquid glue. Actually, for this one I could have used the regular Stampin' Seal, but the liquid is handy, so we'll do that. I've been doing my Facebook Lives and saying how frustrated I get with the liquid glue. I'm better now, I'm not so messy, but I take stuff apart so often, especially when I'm designing. You know, I'll design something and go, no, I don't like it that way, and I want to take it apart, and then with the liquid glue you can't really take it apart without ruining it. Okay, so here we've got, this part is looking good. We're going to take these 2 striped pieces and we're going to adhere those onto our side flaps, just like this. We cut them just the right size, and then we'll adhere this one to the other side. And then we're going to take the soft sea foam one and just the Hooray stamp from the little stamp set and ink that up with our rich razzleberry ink. So just be aware that this might take a second to dry because it's not our regular cardstock. You know, it's white on the back. It's, you know, it's not what we normally work with. So just make sure that's nice and dry before flipping it over and adhering that to the flap. So that one goes on the front flap, just like this. All right, we're ready for action. Now the fun begins. So now we've got this piece here, and we're going to start on one end and fold that towards you. And now the next 2, we're going to fold away. So we're going to fold that one and that one away so that it looks like this. So now I'm going to lay it down here and use my bone folder on it. But in the end, this is how it should look. Now, bring these to the opposite way so that we've got something that looks a little bit like this. And then finally, this last piece gets folded away so that we have a total zigzag maze looking piece of cardstock. I'm just going to open that up and give it a good score. Now let's bring this box back in, and now we're going to put adhesive on the flat parts. So liquid glue is probably the best here because you can move it around. So I've got my flat parts glued here, and now my flat parts glued here. And then this is going to slide into the box because we made it so that it fits perfectly. Look at that. And then work with it a little bit to get it as straight as possible. It's not probably feasible that you're going to have it perfect, but then just reach in there and adhere those sides to the sides of the box. Okay, so you just want to check and make sure it's relatively straight. So now we've created a spot for some pop-ups. Yay! How fun is this? I'm loving this card. This is the third one that I've made. And yeah, I'm totally in love. Okay, so we've got, you can see, hopefully, the zigzag happening there on the inside of the box. And now we're going to bring our animals back. Oh, and you know what else we need? We need a heart. So I'll bring that heart in too. I almost forgot about that heart. I wouldn't have in the end. Then just take your snips and we're going to go to the koalas. They're super cute together. But we're just going to see how that little hand has a slit. We're going to cut, that's where we're going to cut these koalas apart. So we're just going to take our snips and trim those apart. And then you've got the little slits there yet, and that's where your heart will go. How cute. We're going to bring in the dimensionals. And what we want, here's what we're going to do. First, what we're going to do is stick the heart where we want it. Get it in there between his paws. And then I'm going to stick a dimensional back there to kind of hold that together. Just like that. And then what we're going to want is we're going to want that heart right up to the edge or almost to the edge of this front flap. It's okay if we have the koala hanging over, but we want that heart up to the edge. So now just kind of peek and see where more dimensionals can go. Probably up here by the ear and behind the heart. So we're gonna take care of that. And then we're going to adhere that just like I showed you on that front flap. Just making sure it doesn't overlap. There, fabulous. Next, we're going to take the bear. We're going to adhere him to the back section of this zigzag. I'm just going to put a little adhesive on his feet. And then I'm going to tuck him behind that back section. Just making sure that he's not up above the top of the box. Okay, so he can be sticking up, but not past it. All right, so far so good. Next, we're going to take the present and the short little piece that I had you save from when we trimmed the soft sea foam part of the card. We're just going to put a little adhesive on the end. Then we're going to adhere the gift, and it can be a little bit at an angle, just a hair at an angle. And then we're even going to trim that off further so that it's shorter. And we'll put adhesive or glue on there. And then we're going to take that and stick that behind the next section. All right, so let's get our fingers in there and just hold it there for just a second while it adheres itself. Oh, I think I adhered my fingers too. All right, so you don't want to cover up the bear's face, but you've got the little gift there now behind this second to the last section here. Now we're going to grab that other strip of soft seafoam that we had, put a little adhesive. Next, it's the cupcake's turn. And then again, we don't need it all, so we'll trim about half of it off. And then we'll put adhesive. I gotta make sure I'm doing it right. We'll put the glue in the front of that stick, and that's gonna go then behind that front zigzag, not the front of the card, but the front zigzag. And that will stick up just a little bit further than the gift. At least that's how I like it. So that's how I'm gonna do it. Cute, huh? All right, finally we've got the bouquet. Now the bouquet we're gonna add to the front here. So we're gonna put adhesive on this little back stem right here. And then we'll adhere that to the front of that front zigzag. So actually the cupcake and the bouquet are both on the same zigzag. One is behind it and one is in front of it. What do you think? It's cute. So now we're just gonna make sure everything is adhered and dry. Then we're going to put this in an envelope. You heard me. We're gonna put it in an envelope. So it's designed so that you can push it to the side. Actually, we wanna go to this side. Push it to the side and then push down. And notice how flat it is laying now and how it just pops right back up again, just how you want it. Super cute. So now let's bring in the envelope and tuck that in. Oh my goodness, who wouldn't want to get that? That's pretty fun. Thanks for joining me for my alternate paper pumpkin project for December's kit. I will see you again for the next paper pumpkin alternate project.